end users, good morning. Extra Tone Radio, good morning. You are intersecting today because you just are. This topic is important in both technology and in music. It's a special episode. I sat down with Brad, who is developing WHYP, WHYP.IT. You might remember Clip, CLYP.IT. It didn't die. It hasn't gone away, but on November 30th, you got an email from Clip announcing that their longtime free account option, where you could upload and share audio files, was going away. Brad deserves better than to, well, honestly, after talking with him, Brad is very ambitious in a way that's very important to me. But you'll hear me say that over and over again. I wouldn't call this a hard-hitting interview. But then again, I don't work for anybody. This is for me. I hope if you are ever a Clip user, at least what you get from this, or if you saw it from a Google search, I hope what you get from this is that there's a place to go now that is 320 kilobits per second, looks great, and is maintained by someone who's, I don't know, smart he's savvy in the way that leads him to be like, hey, I should just run all of my support and community on Discord. I really fucked this up. I did a bad job. Once again, I apologize. But I'm going to stop speaking now and just play the conversation. It's interesting, if you can bear with me. Here's Brad, the creator of WHYP. I'll be brief because it sounds like you had a big day. I was going to ask, if this was the big day when you threw down everything else in your life and devoted it to this project. But
no, I wish it was. No, I would love to. There's so much stuff that needs to be done. Like, honestly, at the moment, the site's hosted on a kind of a friend's virtual machine.
Oh, wow, really?
Well, kind of. I'm not really sure. My friend Dom, I think he's close with a hosting company, so he's got like very cheap hosting. But it's not super reliable. There's been some downtime, and it's all set up. It's just a regular Linux VM. So setting up was a pain. The other day, it went down for like an hour or so, I think, and that was because the SSL certificate expired, and I broke something. So yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So I'd like to move to Amazon Web Services, but that just takes a lot of time, and that's really expensive.
Yeah. It's also that's actually, it's very, very impressive from what I know. I'm not actually a developer, but I'm adjacent enough to understand that as smooth as it is running on a virtual machine.
That's it. Yeah, it's just yeah. I think I can't remember how many cores. My friend's done all of that, so I'm not really too sure what it's running on because I don't really need to care. I think it's got like 16 gigs of RAM though, which is more than enough for now. And I think it's got like 8 cores, which is a lot, by the way. If you want 8 cores on AWS, you're looking at probably like $100-$200 a month, maybe more. So yeah, move to AWS is going to be painful and expensive. At the moment, the site only costs $40 a month to host, all in all, 40 to 50. So that's pretty cheap.
This is the earliest period, definitely.
Yeah.
Was it January that you? I don't know if you have a date.
Yeah, I do. It's actually it was November last year.
Okay.
But actually, I had this idea for a long time, and I used Clip for years. I thought Clip was good, but they just never changed anything. I thought the UI was kind of crap. The featured tracks thing wasn't really very useful. One of my tracks got featured once, and it was cool. I got lots of plays and comments, but it was kind of pointless. And then recently they did like a feedback thing. You can actually submit a track for feedback, but it's hidden away in the edit track pop-up, and I just thought it was crap. Like, I don't really think they know what they're doing. I'm sure they're lovely people, but maybe I don't know what they're doing. I'd rather,
I looked into them a little bit. It's odd. Both of them stopped tweeting entirely in November or so. I don't know if you know like American cultural cliches, but the company is in Austin, and you can see that in the footer. It's always been there. Yeah, and Austin is like the original ooh, we're so weird. We go to Austin, like that's thanks for you're making this really easy for me because you're answering all my questions. I was originally gonna have like this idea, hey, I could compound this conversation so that it would fit into one post, and that would be nice, but that's not gonna happen because of me. I'm just not sharp anymore. Anyway,
I mean, yeah, you can ask anything you want, but yeah, I just kind of found that Clip was just a bit stale. There was lots of things that I wanted to add. There's no timestamped comments, I think. And then, so basically I thought, just for fun, let's see if I can build like an audio player. So actually, the WHYP.IT domain was live like early 2020, but there was no accounts or anything. You literally it was just like you click upload and then you get a page with a player. It was very, very basic.
Vocaroo.
But yeah, something like that. But the UI was a bit better. But it had some issues, and I thought, I want to make this a platform. Like, obviously the long-term goal is to monetize it. I'm a professional, like, it would be good to earn some money from, but in the sort of most transparent way possible. I don't want to do what Clip have just done. So anyway, I was kind of building it, and then Clip sent me the email, and I'm glad I saw it. Actually, I don't know why I had their emails subscribed, but I'm glad I did. And it said, basically in 3 days we're going to go paid for the basic tier. And I was like, well, okay, it's $3 a month, which personally is like not very much for a subscription. I'm paying for cloud storage and such every month. But I don't think it's a lot of money. I think it's very reasonable, but I understand that a lot of music producers are 12, 13, 14 years old. They don't even have a debit card. Maybe they're not on good terms with their parents and they can't ask their parents for a subscription, all these sorts of things. So I thought, why don't I try and compete with them and release something that can be free and try and learn from their mistakes. So I think their biggest mistake was their tracks don't expire. I know it's a really limiting feature and everybody hates it, but you can't have a private track that doesn't expire. Because basically Clip are paying for hosting on tracks that probably haven't been played for 5 years.
I mean,
because nobody looked at the link.
We should be used to that by now. I had forgotten about Vocaroo until today.
Oh, did they expire?
Oh, yeah. I went, I think that's so, like, you're really treading the divide between sharing audio and distributing it.
The idea was just to share audio. The whole idea has always been to just it's a long story, but basically I've run a Facebook group since 2012 for hardstyle music producers, and I see people. And I've seen I love hardstyle. I've been listening since 2007. But
you wouldn't
I've just
know
seen
it
that a lot
from looking at
I know
colors.
I know. But I like other music. I listen to liquid drum and bass every day. I listen to rhythm, dubstep, hip hop. I listen to a lot of music. I built an audio website, but I just noticed that music producers were uploading. Originally, it was SoundCloud. Then Clip came along. No, it was Zippy Share for a while. Then Clip, and then
Audio was in there.
Yeah, Insta Audio. Yeah. And I won't give away too much, but I think that the whole uploading audio to a website and then posting it elsewhere for feedback is really inefficient. So my original plan was to have all of that in one app. So you uploaded and you asked for feedback and you got feedback. So like a platform for getting feedback. But then I thought, it's going to be really difficult though to manage the feedback. Do users vote up and down the feedback? And then you're going to have like Stack Overflow where people are boosting themselves by creating 2 accounts and asking for feedback on each account and upvoting themselves for XP and all the. So I kind of thought, right, let's just roll that back and go for the basic like platform. So basically everything that that Clip has. And I struggled because they sent that email and I had 3 days. So I actually took, I think it was my last 2 days of the year off, and I just coded full time. I stayed up all day. I stayed up the majority of the night for 2 or 3 days in a row, and I got most of the stuff done except user accounts. So pretty much looked the way that it looked now, except you couldn't log in. And then I think the week after that, I added user accounts, and I've got lots of stuff that I want to add. There's a few bugs that are pissing me off, but I work full time. I'm in a relationship and I got other hobbies, so it's hard to manage time, especially when I'm literally not being paid. A couple of people have donated, but not much. So
this is definitely that's a great idea, but I think that it sounds like you'd be in danger of becoming a social network. Basically,
I don't really want that. I don't want to compete with SoundCloud. I don't like SoundCloud is something different. SoundCloud is for discovering new artists, and I think that's brilliant.
Music discovery,
that's great, and SoundCloud do that pretty well. They've had some difficulties. They almost went bankrupt, I think, last year or the year before. But
they did.
They're doing that. That's their domain, just like Spotify has radios that lets you discover music. That's brilliant. I don't want to compete with Spotify, and I don't want to compete with SoundCloud. But for music producers who want to at least quickly share music, maybe to get feedback, maybe to just drop a link on Reddit. I mean, if you search Google for WHYP.IT, WHYP.IT, I hate saying that, it sounds ridiculous. You'll see that people are posting, somebody posted a Beatles track, a remaster of a Beatles track, and they posted it in r/the Beatles on Reddit the other day. That's really cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Just a quick and easy to use free place to stick an audio file and get a link. If it expires, it expires. If you don't want it to expire, you log in. It's easy.
Yeah. And the
so for now, that's
difference, at least as a user looking upon this, is 320, that number. And I know it's very early, but
I'll definitely keep that. That's fine. That's easily affordable. The file sizes are really small. Yeah, I think at the beginning, I think SoundCloud had 128 about 5 years ago. Then they went up to 192.
Only for paid users now.
Is it really?
Yep. You were listening to 128. Really, yeah.
That's shit. I can notice the difference. I struggled. I don't anymore, but I used to have monitors, professional monitors. I had Yamaha HS8s. And I struggled to tell the difference between 320 MP3 and lossless. I could just about tell, but I can definitely tell 128. So that's crap. And then I think clip is 320. People are telling me it's not.
So I thought that it was. I just also scraped my whole clip. Say scraped. I just used their download button. But and the audio files that I'm seeing are at like 238.
Are they AAC or Ogg Vorbis, or are they MP3?
They're M4As, I think. Let me see real quick. I might be.
I don't know. I could have a look. I don't know what they're using, but basically MP3 is not actually the best file format for streaming on the web, to be honest. It was the easiest one for me to implement, but yeah, there's more efficient.
No, they're MP3s.
As in better quality with reduced. Okay, wow, then that sucks. Yeah, I think I'm going to move to Ogg Vorbis at some point, OGG, because you can have a lower bitrate in OGG with a lower bitrate, which means a smaller size, but higher quality sounding, according to some surveys that I found online. So I'll probably move to that at some point just to reduce storage costs, but nobody will even notice, hopefully. But I'll definitely keep 320 MP3 or whatever the equivalent is in Ogg, because there's no reason not to. I'd love to stream WAVE, just like Clip do, but I do think it's fucking pointless. I don't think anybody who's streaming from the web can tell a difference.
Well, again, and you were already talking about being a utility for sharing work in progress. You're already, I mean, really, you're already surpassing the services that are distributing records now for the average user in terms of the quality of your stream. That's an interesting question. I'm sure that you'll have to contend with going forward. Yeah. I would suggest I'm kind of adjacent to a music community myself. It's the reason why this is an important story for me. I spent my whole adult life up until 2 years ago trying to launch a media company for basically an online magazine for electronic musicians. But if I could speak for them, one of whom really heavily used Clip, really, really heavily used it for a long time. I think that they would rather you they would rather the bit rate be identical. You could go down to SoundCloud's, if anything, and still have the freedom of being able to distribute maybe longer tracks. But that's something that's
at the moment I'm limited to 10 minutes, I think.
Yes.
I mean, I can increase
I totally
that.
understand that. Well,
I can honestly increase that. I just don't know what to increase it to. I don't. Some people would want to use it to host podcasts. Mixes. I know that.
No, yeah, and that's the thing is in the audio space right now. So Anchor, Spotify bought Anchor, and on Anchor is actually this thing that for podcasting at least that's never existed before, in that you can literally upload gargantuan MP3s. I've been uploading an old podcast archive of mine because it's free, and because they have a deal with Spotify, they distribute it everywhere.
Right.
And that's so untenable. But I don't think you have to worry, or at least logically, you shouldn't have to worry about people coming in and podcast hosting. That's actually a good question. Like, so would RSS ever play a part in your service?
I mean, I could implement it. You mean for subscribing to like a particular user, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do it probably fairly easily.
You
I
could,
just
but
didn't.
should you? That's the
I
important.
don't know. I've never used RSS personally, and I don't think I know anybody who does use it. At least in terms of music production. I mean, with podcasts and stuff, it's useful.
Yeah.
I don't really know what channel I want to go down at the moment. Traffic is important. Just because I need the site to grow, and then I need to kind of test the servers and everything. And it's
Yeah.
fun seeing people use it, but I don't know what direction I want to take. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't know if it's the best direction. So I was thinking that there should be different ways to post on the site. So so when you click upload, you get like maybe 6 cards in the middle of the screen, and each one has a little illustrated thing. And one of them is quickly get feedback. Another one is quickly get a link to a track. Another one is like a proper post where you write about it, and maybe you can add a release URL and a status. So maybe the track is work in progress, or it's abandoned, or it's released, and then you can add a URL to the release, so that people can use it whichever way they want. That was one thing I was thinking, and then there's a few other ideas that I won't share just yet, but some more
Yeah.
kind of tools that I think might be useful for music producers. But I don't know. I need to see how people are using it. There's some weird uploads at the moment, like some spoken word stuff. Some
I've contributed already to that.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Maybe it was from me.
I put some weird TTS shit that I did a long time ago. I won't get into that. But let's see. Let me focus here. I apologize. I used to be so much better at this, but I have not done it in a long time.
No, that's fine.
So I noticed in the FAQ,
Yeah.
you actually use the word steal in mentioning why it's not open source. Which I totally, for one thing, I'm not an open source evangelist in the sense that most people think I am. I understand, like, it sounds like you're a professional developer.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're working on something genuinely original instead of building on top of a bunch of old web technologies. Am I correct in that? Are you building something that...
I mean, at the moment, everything's pretty standard, but I just have some ideas that I've never seen done before anywhere. And they could be really, really valuable to music producers. But they could also just be overcomplicated and kind of fail and have loads of bugs or something. But yeah, I mean,
open sourcing
the idea of
would not help it get any simpler. That's for sure.
No, and maybe I shouldn't use the word stealing there. What I meant is like it's a website that like as a long-term goal, and this isn't why I'm building it by any means, because if it was, then I'd be making a loss. But as a long-term goal, it'd be great to earn money from the site, right? Obviously,
I certainly hope so.
I've spent dozens of hours, and soon to be probably hundreds of hours, learning web development and practicing, and it's my job. But it'd be cool if I could launch a website that had 10,000 uploads a day, and I was getting $1,000 a week in ad revenue or something. That'd be awesome. Obviously, that's everybody's dream as a web developer, is to earn money while you sleep. And I'm not gonna like push that heavily. I'm not gonna force people to register or force people to not use an ad block or something, because I just hate sites that do that. But it'd be good if I could organically and naturally generate revenue. So that's the long-term goal, and to do that, I need people to use the site. And to use the site, I would like to have. I need features that aren't elsewhere, right? People can just go and use Clip. Yeah, it's $3 a month, but they could just go and use that.
That actually prompts a business question that I had for you. So you said that you need people to use the site. What about Mastodon, the state of Mastodon right now?
Yeah.
So Eugen has a Patreon, and it's like, I think he's making something like $7,000 a month now.
Wow.
Obviously, a lot of that goes into I have not looked in a long time. So, but I think a lot of that goes into hosting costs and bandwidth costs, etc. But that is his full-time job. And I know you have Ko-fi? Coffee? I've never actually heard anyone say it.
The easiest. I don't know. Coffee, I guess, because it's supposed to be buying a coffee, but it was just the first thing I found online.
And having been someone that, so for my media company, I bet early on Patreon and failed, frankly. Probably because I've never been very good at articulating what I'm trying to do. But like, would that be an avenue that you'd explore and like having I don't know, maybe benefits?
I would love to, but I don't know like what benefits. I did actually go through setting up a Patreon, but then I didn't know what benefits to add. I mean,
well, we've already got Discord is already intimately involved with your project because like that's where the DMCA link takes you to. I mean, like, I think it's great. I think it's brilliant that you've and I think that frankly, everyone else or the companies that don't use Discord because it's not because they said it's not for businesses, I think they're all fucking idiots.
Yeah, so honestly, I agree. Like, Discord is great. I've obviously as a professional, I've used Slack, I've used Teams, I've used Rocket Chat. And Discord is still the best UI. Yeah, it just works. It doesn't always work, and I should not get political, but I do not agree with everything that the company stands for politically. But as a service, especially as a free service, Discord is like the best. There isn't. And I use Discord all day, every day. I've got lots of friends here. The other guy that did a bit of development work on some of the back end stuff with me, we chat on Discord every day. So I just thought, I can't be bothered setting up a page with a request form and a list of features and all these things.
Smart.
Just
smart way
do a Discord. Yeah, it took me 10 minutes.
It's one of the reasons why I was like, I gotta talk to you. On that note, I would read this. It probably seems like nuanced to you, but I popped into the Discord it's almost like habit. It literally is habit for me to immediately ask, hey, do you have a press kit? Because I don't know, it's really stupid, but I like have a collection of brand and press kits from projects that I intended to write about and probably never will. And usually no one, like either someone else is like, hey, here's a Google Drive link. Basically no one has ever done what you did, which was immediately set about composing a press kit.
Yeah, honestly, it took me like 3 hours.
Yeah, and that's I figured it did, and that's why, like, I guess I wanted to ask you the question: how come you're the only person that has ever responded in that way? I guess I would surmise and confirm it for me that you realized the value to the project, and having kind of a succinct explainer this early on.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, since I posted that, I haven't updated the screenshots. That's kind of a pain to have to do that, but I do need to do
don't do that. No one, yeah.
But and the page itself is kind of ugly. I think the text is too big. But anyway, I just needed a single source of truth for the story that I can point people to. Obviously, it is truthful. I haven't exaggerated or changed any of the truth there, but it was just a good place to put it. I don't know, like other people have asked the same thing. I know that more people will ask. It gives a little bit of insight into how the back end works, why I did it, my motivation, and that my motivation is not just like, oh yeah, let's earn loads of money or let's steal everybody's everybody's email address or so. Just to show that I'm genuine. Obviously, I've put a link there to my LinkedIn, which was I think a bold move because that's quite personal. But why not? I have nothing to hide.
I mean, if you were so actually something I want to bring up. So there is one single article ever published about Clip, and it was in TechCrunch, and they were just like, hey, they're trying to be the Imgur of audio. I hate it when tech media needs to compare, even though I probably will have to headline it something like, hey, we lost Clip, here's WHYP. But unfortunately, that's just anyway. I guess this is something you probably already know. I know a lot more about media than I know about software development.
Right.
And like I have my profound frustration with tech media is at this point kind of defining my identity, but I should say now that as it stands, traditional tech media will not understand, especially if you ever open source anything.
Yeah.
I think that that's not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say is your professional presentation of everything, and it is much more professional than a lot of the tools, utilities that are out there for creators, might just get you that traditional tech media attention, because it's like,
I really hope so. I have made extra. Don't get me wrong. Setting up that stuff and writing the press kit and making the site look kind of like a platform. Like, it's all a lot of work. It's very tiring. I get bad eye strain. I've got carpal tunnel in my hands. I code all the time. And I think I am trying hard to kind of give the site an identity and make it look professional, because honestly, I really hate when I go to a website like Vocaroo, and I'm sure the people that made Vocaroo are great. I've never used it, actually. I didn't know about it until I did research when Clip went paid. But like, it looks awful. It looks awful. It looks like they want to steal my data. It just looks terrible.
I mean, no one's at the wheel. It's just like with Clip. I mean, like, Clip looks exactly the same as it did when it released, basically.
Yes. And there's no information about the developers. Who made Vocaroo? Why have they made it? Are they selling everybody's email address when they register? Or I don't think you can register by the look of it. But
more topically, have they I think I don't know if you saw or care, but there's a Wired feature yesterday, I think, talking about how most of the, quote, data breaches, I hate that word when it's just your fucking password information, but not malicious, but because, or even necessarily out of
it's people
what we
selling
consider
data.
like reckless. It's misconfigured API interactions with big like hosting services like AWS. I don't know. Actually, I'm sorry that I even led us to privacy at all. And I've already taken so much of your time, and I really appreciate you talking to me about this, because
it's fine.
I also care a lot about. But okay, so let me your roadmap is not really a roadmap in the sense that
not really.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's not a link to a Trello board. Not that anyone wants that.
No, I was going to do that, but I didn't. Yeah.
When they're and I know that like you are at the beautiful crossroads now. So anything that I ask is basically what you imagine you might do in the future. But I want to ask some things so like iOS, Android apps from third parties. If someone pops in and says, "Dude, where's your GitHub repo? I want to get in on this." Okay.
I mean, I'd be happy for people to make iOS or Android apps, but I don't know why. I mean, are you basically saying, like, would I give public access to my API and document it and let people use my API to make their own app? I don't think that what I offer as a service, honestly, is that complicated and worth people using. Like, all I really do is take a file, transcode it to 320 MP3, add a bunch of stuff to it in the database, like, a title and a description, and then display it on a web page. Like, I think the most valuable part of the site is the waveform, which took fucking months to make work. It was really complicated. But
did you?
Yeah.
Did you do that yourself?
Yeah, I'm not using any libraries for the whole. Well, I mean, I'm using a couple of things like for the modal and stuff like that. But no, I built that myself. The audio player can load tracks in and out. There's a few bugs at the moment that I'm trying to fix. It needs another rewrite. But yeah, I pulled my hair out for like 3 months making that waveform work with the audio player.
That's so valuable, though, that you're doing it doing it by hand.
Yeah.
Because at least from what I've experienced, and again, I'm not a developer, the shit that when people build on top of other shit in the open source community, it just leads to iteration hell, and everything breaks. Dude,
no. I don't want that.
As a user, I've uploaded stuff both from mobile and from desktop already. Like, I can tell you that it's like uncannily smooth, and that's
it's not great. There's so much. It could be so much better.
I know it could be better, dude, but like you gotta think about like the average user. The electronic musicians that I know, and I talk about the technology that supports their creativity all the time, and they don't. I mean, I just bother them with that. I think they don't really care. They just need, but
Yeah,
you
a lot
are,
of producers care more about creativity than about knowing why. Like a lot of people don't really understand compression, but like they just stick a compressor on something and play around, and that's fine. Like that's a part of electronic, or at least a part of the process of learning to produce electronic music. Like you don't have to know everything, and it's the same with the website, right? Like if they just see an upload button, they click it, and they follow the steps, and they get a link, and then that's it. They don't really
yeah,
care about the fact that the waveform thing kind of isn't very smooth when it moves, and they
or
don't
even
care.
that,
Yeah.
it paused and was unresponsive until I refreshed the page once. I'm just saying to you,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you want or need to hear this, but like from my as a blind test, it's so much better than anything else that exists. That I guess I wouldn't worry yourself over refinements, especially considering your quote unquote competition. And I understand that, like, being proud of it,
Yeah.
but like, I'm not anyone to give business advice. I'm gonna stop rambling and actually let you rest.
No, it's all good. But yeah, I don't know what direction I want to take it in. If you've got advice, just say. Like, I'd rather people just be honest and open. I mean, that's what I need. In fact, that's what I should start saying. Really, is that I need people like yourself and people that use the site to actually tell me all those little things that they don't like, the little things that could be improved. Like, for example, the comments part of the waveform should be smaller. I know that it should be like 1/3 comments and then 2/3 just seekable waveform. But it's something that I can't do easily, so it's just on the back burner. I move house in 1 week, so
Oh my god!
I'm not starting any large things. So yeah, I know. Like most of the things that people suggest to me, I probably know, and it's probably on my internal private list of stuff, which has. Hold on, I use ClickUp.
What I'm trying to communicate to you is, also feel free to not listen sometimes, because people.
Yeah, of course.
If there's one thing I've learned is that it's having kind of observed the open source community is that feedback is cool, and it's definitely important. But honestly, when you think about the services, for better or for worse, definitely for worse, but think about the services that are the most successful right now. Facebook's design, Facebook is it's obviously designed, its design has nothing to do with like making it easier to accomplish tasks for the user.
No.
It tells you what to do.
Yes.
And you're just like, as a utility, you definitely have the right to like basically go wherever you want.
I do agree. It's just the problem is working by myself means that if I spend a week on a feature and then I launch it and nobody really I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. That's innovation, and I'm more than I'm happy to waste the time. I'm a gamer as well, and I've wasted thousands of hours running through fields in DayZ or something. So like, I'm not worried about wasting my time. But it's just a bit demotivating if I spend a week working on something and then nobody likes it or nobody uses it or people complain about it and they want me to remove it. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about. Huh?
That's going to be complicated going forward. You know what? Instead of me telling you what it's going to be like, I'm going to ask you. I know I've seen the community in Discord, and I know that it's all publicly visible. But it looks like there's a lot more constructive feedback than I would have thought.
It's been quite good, actually. Yeah, I've got a few users on there who are very useful, and I'm quite surprised. There's been a few people that have come and gone, never really they were like really into the project and were chatting every day, and then disappeared, and they're still in the Discord, but they just don't interact anymore, which is kind of weird.
That will probably be me on and off.
That's okay.
But the thing is, strange. It's like, did you know? Have you encountered the Discord server limit yet? You cannot be a member of more than 100 servers.
Honestly, I'm a member of, by the look of it, about 10.
I just never leave. That's okay. That's a different subject. Let me ask you one more big question, and that is, what if a established media company, not necessarily a giant, somebody comes along from California, and says, hey, you've actually built something really unique here, and we'd like to absorb you. Not even worried about the business. Like, how comfortable would you be with that?
I mean, from what point of view would I be absorbed? Like, it would depend on.
Okay, I'm at like. being bought out is basically what I'm asking you. Is that
what would I, if I was bought out? What it would depend on what I would lose. It would all just depend. Like that's a difficult business question. If somebody, frankly, if somebody was going to pay me enough money, of course I would accept it. Like why wouldn't I? That that's actually it's normal, and I don't think I'm anywhere near close to this point, but it's normal for CEOs to eventually walk away from the thing that they built, right? That's the end goal. You build
except
a product,
for Mark
and then
Zuckerberg.
but he's still young. Like one day he will retire and he'll walk away from it. And well, I mean, he can't be bought out, but he'll walk away from it and retire. And yeah, I don't know why he hasn't already done that. To be honest,
yes,
probably got like a ridiculous amount of money. Maybe he enjoys it. Maybe it's fulfilling. But anyway, if somebody came along now, probably. If somebody came along now and they said, "I'll offer you $10,000 for your site," I would say no. If somebody came along now and they said, "I would offer you $100,000 for your site," I would obviously think about it. But I'm well aware that if I could, if I keep working on this for the next 2, 3, 5 years with enough users and enough willpower and determination, I could maybe build something unique.
Given the recent history of software, what's more likely to happen is a big company is going to come along and be like, "Hey, you're going to be in charge still. You're going to make all the decisions, and you're just going to be a part of us." And then they're like, it's going to be a big deal. There's going to be coverage, but then they're going to forget about you. Google has forgotten about so many projects.
I know. I'm glad you're aware of that. There's actually a list on GitHub, I think, of projects.
Oh yeah,
projects that they've basically killed.
Yeah, but not even intentionally. Microsoft intentionally killed projects. The worst thing though is that they just fucking forget about them. Anyway,
I know. Yeah, no, I wouldn't let that happen. I don't know, honestly. It depends on money, doesn't it? Like, obviously, if they offered me enough money, I'd be more than happy to go on holiday for 6 months and enjoy my life. But I don't know, and that's not going to happen. The thing that I am more worried about, though, in all honesty, is when I wrote Stealing Ideas, what I mean is, like, I'm one developer, and I only have a few years of development experience. If a team of 3 people at Google decided to launch an audio service, that it would be better than mine, it would be faster than mine, it would be more stable than mine, and it would probably be open source, and they'd have it done in a week. Like they could just do that if they wanted to.
But they won't,
pretty
though.
Much, if Facebook added waveforms to audio in comments,
but they won't, though, because they're totally uninterested in making things that are useful in small ways.
Market. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, because basically
you don't have to worry about that. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay.
But okay, I'm gonna. One more thing I wanted to say. My friend Isaiah, who's his musician name is Scrimshaw Carver, said to tell you that musicians in the wild are appreciative of what you're doing, which you already knew. But
yeah, I mean, it's good to hear. Yeah, it's fulfilling. I'm glad people are using it. I'm glad people are happy. There's so much more to come. I assure everybody. Yes. I don't want to make any false promises, but the site UI is going to be changed. It'll be faster. It'll be more stable. Right now, if you go from a track to a user's profile, you might see some of the text change before the page is changed. That's super annoying. No. That I know. Yeah, but from a web developer's point of view, it's shit. There's just a few things that aren't great. Mobile isn't very good. The mobile player will be like SoundCloud, where the waveform scrolls from right to left. I've already built that, actually. There's lots of stuff that will change, but for now, I got to focus on my personal life a bit, so I'm just making some small changes. But yeah.
Well, you were doing incredibly well.
I'm glad you think so.
I really appreciate the time.
No, it's fine. I don't have that many users. I don't know if you're interested in statistics, but I've got 450 user accounts only, which is fairly small. 450 registered users and about 5,000 uploaded tracks total, including expired tracks. I delete the audio file when a track expires.
That's good.
But I leave the database row there because it's useful. It's useful data. Not when I say data, I mean it's useful to know how many people uploaded in total, when they uploaded, how many uploads a user made. That's all useful information, and I don't mean that in a way like, oh, I'm going to sell it. I mean, it's useful to see how people are using the site, and it's basically free to keep that data in the database. When you delete your account, I legitimately delete everything, including all your expired tracks. database. But hopefully I'll add an expired tab to your profile as well, so you'll be able to go back to expired tracks. You won't be able to play them, but you'll be able to view comments that were left, which will be more useful once there's some more feedbacky stuff. So yeah, think maybe you upload a track, it lasts 7 days, you get feedback, and then you can go back and view the feedback. But
I think you've already thought about this more than all the services that have tried to do what you're doing combined over their entire history, which is
I hope so. Seriously, when I look at Clip, it's like they just did the minimum viable product, ditched it,
and they never spoke.
We don't know who they are. I did speak to them once on Facebook with some suggestions, which was quite cool, but they were a bit boring. By the way, I noticed that you're a car or like a car. You said you're a car writer. And are you an automotive?
It has been many years, but I began a career in automotive journalism, and then I'm
a car enthusiast myself.
Are you?
I've got a 1993 JZX90 Toyota Chaser from Japan.
Oh my god!
I imported that. I bought it in December 2019 and it arrived 2020 June. Yeah, it's about 350 horsepower.
Wow.
JZ GT. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was driving around in it today and it's a bit down on power. So tomorrow I gotta run the engine and pull each coil pack to see if one of the coil packs is dead, to see if I don't know, and check all the spark plugs, something's wrong with it. But yeah,
you get so much more done than I do, man. It took me that's incredible. I'm just gonna picture you blasting a hard style at a Toyota Chaser in the UK.
No, I wish I could, but I wouldn't be able to hear it because it's straight piped, so it's too loud.
Oh my god. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope we talk again. I
absolutely.
I should say now, and you can kick me out at any time. I never leave Discord servers, but this is like one of those projects that's like important to me because you know why. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I'll see you around. If you stick around, I've got a focus group as well, which is just like a private channel Discord where I can share ideas. It's not used that much, but if I see you around, I'll add you there.
Oh yeah.
I keep those people close to my chest, because if I add, like, if somebody joins my Discord and they get friendly with me and they work at Clip and I add them there, then they kind of see all my secret ideas. So
yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm not actually a real tech journalist, which is I've come to appreciate, because I like I don't know. I'm able to tell the stories because I don't have to worry about, I don't know, I'm not coming in here worrying about ethics. It's so
you just do your thing.
Like the context.
Yeah, I mean, if you post anything anywhere, please link it to me. You can do it privately, or if you want people to click on it, do it in the general channel or whatever. I mean, I did notice you have something on on GitHub, WHYP little review from yesterday.
You saw that? Yeah, I've made the decision to use GitHub to keep track of my notes. So actually, you could probably see the notes I'm looking at for this right now. In the interest of it's been an experiment. But yeah, you could actually like view everything that I've ever said or thought in this space, or at least documented.
That's pretty cool.
To be honest, that's
interesting. I don't know anybody else who's doing that.
There are a few, but if you couldn't already tell, like I'm definitely on my coming down stage, or coming down end of my like super like open source GitHub transparency. I don't know. I guess I'm more critical of it. Than I've ever been. But
your name's Extratone, so I'm going to assume that you listen to Extratone music, which is like impossible to listen to.
That's actually what so Extratone was the name of the online magazine. It's still extratone.com is still up. It is not an active publication in any way.
Okay.
I think I do have a blog which I don't maintain any sort of regularity, but telling the stories that I feel are like drastically undercovered by tech media is what I've been working on. But I don't know.
I see you. You wrote about the SoundCloud mastering. That's something that I noticed in the last 5 years. People have started doing automated mastering. Don't really know. I mean, I have an idea how it works, but it's quite interesting. I bet they make a fortune from that, from people who, because it probably does do a good job.
You might as well leave it bad, honestly, because like good mastering is always going to require like someone who's it's just detail.
There's no one size. There's no one size fits all for mastering. Like literally, that's not possible. I mean, they can use AI to try and determine what genre it is and how loud it should need to be. And I don't know. I'm sure they do some Well, then again, knowing SoundCloud, they probably don't do that as much as they like. SoundCloud is one of those companies, I think, where they have a big marketing budget. So actually, like, they're not as progressive as they think they are. I wouldn't be surprised if the SoundCloud mastering system is pretty much the same as their competitors. Like, they want you to think that maybe they use some complex AI to work out how to master it, but I bet they don't. I mean, I don't know. I really don't.
Well, the end result of whatever it is that it's pretty bad.
That's
why.
Okay.
Yeah. The big thing recently, like Bandcamp, was I devoted a whole year to writing I didn't write as much like I wanted to, but a history of Bandcamp, because they basically, like, Bandcamp exists as a service that is for profit, yet they've figured out a way to be for profit and yet absolutely invaluable to the most vulnerable creators, like the most vulnerable type of people. Basically, they're doing what all the like neoliberal media, like meta media, seems to want all of tech to be doing, and they're doing it like literally with. I spent a whole summer digging into everything, trying to find one blunder of any kind, technological or cultural or whatever. Nothing. They ran their Bandcamp was run out of a public library until 2017. Anyway, I won't get started on that topic but basically, like, it's like you're on that plane right now. You're on that actually doing something thoughtfully plane. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doing my best.
You're doing great. I'm gonna talk to you later, Brad. Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Rest. Good luck.
I will do. Thanks a lot, man. See you, David.
Thank you.
Bye.